Grace with Healthy Fit. This video is all about the feet. We are going to do some exercises to improve foot mobility and prevent foot drop. We also have some foot activation in today's exercises. We're doing a variety of different movements. I have a bunch of different tools that I'll be incorporating into today's work. I've got my Rollga and activator. You can use any foam roller if you don't have a Rollga. If you don't have this handy dandy activator, which is amazing for the feet, you can use any other small ball, a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, a golf ball, any other ball. We'll also give you the option of some manipulation as well, manual manipulation. We are going to be doing some exercises concentrating on moving some of the muscles in our feet using a towel. You can also use a marble or a very small ball if you have it. I'm going to be using a gliding disc. If you don't have one of these, you can have a stocking foot for that exercise or a paper plate, something that's going to allow your foot to move. We've got some stretches using a resistance band. If you don't have one of these Stroops resistance band, which I absolutely love because it has the fabric on it, so if it happens to rip or tear, you are not going to get injured. You can use any kind of therapeutic band or resistance band. Just check it for rips or tears. You could also use a yoga strap or a belt, but it's not going to give as much for the exercises, so it's going to be more of an isometric stretch if you're using one of those. And I have a set of weights for one of the exercises, so you'll be able to use those if you have weights. I also am using a chair for some of the exercise, so have that ready as well. We are going to start on the floor with some SMR for the feet. So I'm going to start with the activator. If you're not getting down on the floor today, you can do this seated in a chair. So we are going to start at the heel. As we press the ball into the heel, we're going to do a quarter turn and then release some of the pressure to stimulate and activate the nerves and try to release some of the tight fascia tissue. If you don't have this, you can use your thumbs and create X's, massaging out. The pressure that you use is really going to depend on your personal preference. SMR work, or self-myofascial release, is very personal and personalized, so you can adjust to what feels good to your body today. I'm working my way up through the arch of the foot, the ball of the foot, and back down on the other side. Noticing any areas maybe that feel tight and add just a little bit more pressure there. Now I'm going to switch to the other side. Starting at the heel, working our way up, we are going to use our thumbs to massage, or again, using our ball, press, quarter turn, and rotate. Working my way up through the arch of the foot, the ball of the foot. My gym dog really wanted to help with the stretching today. Working my way up. All right. Now we can also do a little bit of toe traction in the feet, just gently pulling up on each one of the toes. Maybe a little wiggle, maybe a little massage. If you have any tension in the feet. We really want to stimulate the nerve endings and muscles in the feet create those neural synapses as we go through our foot fitness exercises to prevent neuropathy. All right, we're gonna come to a standing position now. Grab your Rolga or foam roller. I'm turning to the side so you can see. Using a chair for balance, especially if you have neuropathy or limited mobility, so that you are safe. Rocking back and forth along the length of the foot, and then hold it in a calf stretch. Couple deep breaths here. Let's do that on the other side. Rolling back and forth, and then hold in that calf stretch. Grab whatever ball you're using today, and we're gonna step on the ball. Again, if you need a chair for balance, go ahead and grab that. We're gonna start with the toes over the front of the ball. Kind of spread your toes and wrap them around the front for a good stretch. Again, this is very personal, so if this is sensitive, your foot is not comfortable, take some of the pressure off. You don't have to put all of your body weight. The more body weight on it, the deeper the stretch and release. You can rock it side to side and front to back. And then work on your heel. Again, rock it side to side, back and forth. Using a chair as needed, let's switch to the other side. Wrapping those toes over the front. So our fascia tissue in our feet can get really bound up and not feel good, can cause plantar fasciitis. So you really want to break up that tissue and allow better range of motion. Rocking side to side, back and forth. All right, set that aside. We're gonna do some foot fitness exercises now. So we're gonna exercise our brain and our feet at the same time. Lift and lower those, spread those toes, and then lower them on the mat. Now when you lower them on the mat, I want you to kind of grip the mat with your toes. Lift, spread them out, lower and grip. Now when you grip, look down, you should see your arch activate. That's one of the goals here. We also want to have even placement of our weight on our heels, the balls of our feet, and our toes when we're standing. Our toes should be in alignment with our feet, so if yours are kind of out to the side or in a little bit, make the adjustment. We want to practice good kinetic chain to prevent injury in or overuse, misalignment in our knees and our hips, because our feet are the first point in the kinetic chain. All right, now I want you to just lift your big toe. So if you need to look down at that toe to tell it what to do, lift and lower. Now if your toe's not doing what you want it to do, you can always sit in a chair and wiggle that toe up and down to simulate the movement. We're creating that neural synapses between our brain and that toe. Wiggle, wiggle, up and down. Now let's try to move that little piggy toe on the outside. Lift and lower. This one's a little bit harder. So again, if you need to lift and lower, stimulate that neural synapses. Some of your other toes might move a little bit on this one. Lift and lower, keeping that big toe grounded on the floor. Now, what I'd like for you to do is roll from the inside of your foot to the outside. Pronate and supinate your foot. Rocking from inside to outside. You might feel a little bit of stretch in your ankle here. Again, if you need a chair for balance, go ahead and use that chair. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. I'd like for you to now bend one leg, pressing those toes in the floor, lifting off onto the ball of the foot, lifting that heel up. Lift and lower. Nice tall posture. Let's switch to the other leg, shall we? I'm going to turn around so you can see. All right. Our next stretch, we are going to incorporate our resistance band. So you can either do this seated in the chair or on the floor. It's going to look the same. We're going to do one leg at a time. And even if you have a foot drop or limited mobility in just one foot, you should be doing all of these exercises on both sides to maintain good neural synapses in your brain to your feet, as well as keep those foot muscles strong on both sides. All right, so when I do this exercise, I'm going to wrap the band around my foot for stability. Placing it around the top of the foot, wrap it over on one side and the other side. We want to make sure the band is even for stretching on the arm. All right, so you can actually choke up on this if you want. Holding the straps, get a firm resistance on the band. We're gonna point and flex. So this is exercising the foot plantar and dorsiflexion. Point and flex. Point and flex. Now again, if you're using like a yoga strap or a belt, you're not going to have the stretch resistance here. It's going to be more like an isometric push because the band is not going to give like a resistance band like this one. All right, let's do that on the other side. Again, for security, so that it stays on your foot, I like to place it over the top and wrap it around one side underneath and the other side, and then check it so that it's even. Getting yourself in a comfortable position, you can choke up on that band to give some resistance. Dorsi and plantar flexion, point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. Concentrate on getting a good range of motion here. Couple more. And release the band. Coming to a standing position for heel toe rocking horse. So this is a movement that you can use a chair for balance. You have a staggered stance position. My feet aren't super far apart, but they are in alignment with my shoulders. All right. So we're gonna rock from our front of our toes. Spread those toes. Look down and see that your feet, you're lifting off evenly onto the balls of your feet and all your toes. So your feet aren't rocking to the inside or outside. That's one of the things we're looking for. Now we are going to rock back to our heels. Toes, heels. I'm going to shift back this way so you can see. Lifting off evenly, tilting back, lifting onto your heels. Nice tall posture. As we lift onto our heels, we might need to shift our hips back for that balance and center of gravity. our lead leg. All right, lifting off heels. Lift your toes up. Heels up. Toes up. Check down on your feet. Make sure you're lifting off evenly. Now you might notice a difference on one of these parts of the exercise is more difficult than the other. I have an old injury on the right foot, and you can see here how it doesn't come up as high as the left foot. So working on that mobility and range of motion and stimulating those muscles is really important. All right, I'm gonna rotate my chair to the front now. We're gonna come to a seated position. This is where you have if you have a small ball or a towel, we are going to use it for the next exercise. So I'm just gonna place it in front of me. The marble or the small ball is gonna be more challenging than the towel. You want the towel out at a certain distance, and you're gonna take your foot and use your toes to lift the towel. Then switch. Lift and move. I should have put it closer to the center there. Squeeze the towel in, bring it forward, drop, switch legs. Now, if you have marbles, you can actually lift marbles out from in front of you and drop them into a bowl. That can be fun. If we're using a towel, we're just moving it back and forth, alternating feet. See this side, I'm having a hard time with those toes today. This is great too. I have rheumatoid arthritis. If you have arthritis in your feet, to keep that mobility, doing these exercises will be helpful. Last one. All right, set that aside. I'm gonna rotate my chair around again. Next exercise, soccer kicks. Now, little disclaimer, if you are using the chair for this, you are going to use this other hand and opposite arm and leg. Just make sure you're not gonna hit the chair. So your supporting arm, and then when we do the other side, you're gonna flip around. So the leg that you're using is closest to the chair because you need your other arm for this exercise. All right, so the first exercise, we're gonna work on our hip rotation and mobility as part of this. Soccer kick, tap front and behind. So depending on your hip mobility, you might tap your thigh and reach for your foot, or actually tap the foot. So you don't have to actually hit the foot, just aim for that direction. Tap either the thigh or the ankle and kick behind. You're kicking front and behind, front and behind. Again, it's not about whether you're touching the ankle. It's more about that range of motion, keeping your core engaged, nice tall posture. If you don't need the chair, don't use the chair. But the chair is always there for support, especially if your neuropathy or your limited mobility is in your balancing leg right now. Last one. Let's switch to the other side. So again, if you're using the chair, you're gonna flip over. If you don't need that chair, don't use the chair. Again, you're not necessarily having to hit that ankle. There's a little bit of coordination in this one, a little bit of balance. If you're having trouble with your balance, stop here and reset your foot. Get evenly placed with the ball of the foot, the heel, and each of those toes. Remember how I said to spread those toes and then grip them on the mat to activate your arch of your foot. Nice tall posture. We want to try not to bend over as we do this exercise. Imagine you have a straight line. Your vertebrae, each vertebrae is stacked one on top of the other, like you have a string coming from your head, extending your spine. Last one. All right, I forgot to tell you guys to get a small ball for this next one. So if you have a small ball, grab it. Otherwise, you can use a towel, but I really like a ball better for this exercise. This is a Pilates ball, but you can certainly use something smaller. The other ball that I sometimes use for this exercise is from my Rolga massage therapy kit. So you can see the variation in the size ball. Play around with different options and see what you like. So for this exercise, we're going to place the ball out, sitting tall in our chair, stacking those vertebrae one on top of the other. Nice tall posture. We're going to use our foot to roll that ball in. Bring it with the ankles. You can hold onto the side of the chair. Lift, lower, roll it out. Roll it back. Lift and lower. You're having it in the ankles. Nice tall posture. Challenge. Hold it there a little bit longer. Roll it out. Roll it back. If you have more than one size ball, try a different size and see what you think. Bring the ball to the ankles, lift. Engaging our core, right? Roll it back. Lift, squeeze, and lower. We're going to do 2 more of those. How does that sound? Now, as you get stronger, you can always add ankle weights for an exercise like this. Roll it back. This is our last lift right here. Great job. We are going to move on to our next exercise, which is a calf raise. So this is a seated exercise. We can also do this standing. If you're doing it standing, your weights would be in your hands. But if you have balance challenges right now because of a dropped foot, you can certainly do it seated. We want to put the weights, if we're seated, on our thighs. Just to give you an idea, I have 15-pound weights here. You can use any size weights that you would like depending on your foot and ankle strength, your calf strength, but we want to continually build up. So we're going to start with our feet parallel. We're going to lift, squeeze, and lower. Lift, squeeze, and lower. We're going to start with 4 of these, but you can work up to 20 per set, in addition to increasing your weight. Again, you want to make sure that when you lift, we're pushing off evenly, that your feet aren't rolling to the inside or outside as we do the exercise. If they are, you need to work on your form before you increase that weight. And I'm a terrible counter. I lost count, but I think we probably did about 10. So now we're going to move our feet so they're out as a plie. So you can take your feet a little bit wider in the chair. lifting and lowering. If you're standing, they don't have to be out that far, as long as it's comfortable. And there's one of my little gym cats coming to visit, checking out the action. Am I doing it right, cat? Taking your feet wide, lift, squeeze, and lower. I can definitely tell what side I have the injury on, because it's working harder, but it's important to build that up. Squeezing that calf at the top, concentrating on pushing off evenly, pushing those toes, each one into the floor. Look down and press those toes. Now bring our feet inside. So our toes are pointing to the front, kind of like knock-kneed. Lift and lower. So our calf has 3 muscle heads. And so each one of these exercises is strengthening a different muscle head. One might feel harder than the others for you. Again, we can always do these standing as well. Lift and lower. But again, if your balance is off, you can do seated, or if you're doing a standing option, you can always hold on with one hand on whatever your support is, your chair. Lift, squeeze, and lower. Give me 2 more of those. All right, rest. Our next exercise, we are going to start in the chair, seated to squat with foot activation. So if you need something for balance, you might want to bring your chair close to a table or have another chair in front. For added support, or I have a portable bar, something like that would be great. So what we want to do, we're going to focus on activating the feet as we stand. So as we sit here, spread your toes on the floor, get that good activation, squeeze those, ground each one of those toe pads into the floor, and see your foot, your arch activate. We want even pressure in the heel, the balls of the feet, and each of the toes for good foot activation as we do this. We can also have a weight for this. So if you don't need something for balance, you can hold on to a weight in front of you, a goblet squat, and stand up. Keep that good foot activation and stand. If you need to reset your feet each time, set those toes up, get that activation, concentrate, pressing through the feet as you stand. If you don't want to use a weight, we can always start like this. Weight is always optional. It's more important to focus on your form. Once you get the form down, then add weight to add to the challenge. Check that foot activation. Are your feet in alignment with your knees? If you have some knee movement, you can also add a ball in here to activate the quads as we stand. Not using momentum as we sit down or stand up. Can you give me one more? All right, set that ball out of the way. Our next exercise is soccer kicks, ankle and knee. All right, so again, if you're using your chair for support, you're gonna use the leg that's closest to the chair. So instead of kicking in front and behind like we did previously, we're going to tap knee, ankle, knee. You don't have to touch the ankle, just reach in that direction. Little bit of coordination in here. Again, this is mind-body exercise. Improving that hip rotation, but we want to focus on not crunching our torso. Our torso is nice and tall. Now that standing foot, check your standing foot. Is everything evenly placed? There's a little bit of balance exercise here. If you don't need that chair, don't use it. One more. Now, if you're using the chair, you're going to turn around to the other side. Knee, ankle, knee, ankle. You don't have to touch that ankle. Remember, it's just an aiming point. Core is engaged. The standing foot, we've got balance. We have even placement between the heel, the balls of the feet, and each one of the toes. We're not crunching our body. Our body's nice and tall. Last one. All right, this is our last exercise. We're in the home stretch. Single leg side extension with the gliding disc. So the gliding disc, now this is one, if you don't have the gliding disc, you can use a paper plate. You can use a stocking foot. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bend our leg closest to the chair or our balancing foot leg. Make sure you have even placement of our heel, the balls of the foot, and each one of your toes. You notice a trend there, right? Engaging the core. Our foot needs to be grounded as we lift and extend, sliding that leg. So we're gonna push back into our glute. Feel a good stretch on the inside of the leg. Squeeze it closed. Squeeze. Squeeze it closed. Extend. Feel that stretch. We want to keep the knee tracking in alignment with the toes. If you don't need that chair for balance, you've got progressions here. You can also add weights, right? The weight would frame your standing leg right here. Squeeze it closed. One more on this side and then we're gonna switch. How are we doing? So if you're switching again, you're gonna turn around. So your leg is extending to the outside of the chair. Or if you're facing the chair, you can do it to the one side without turning. But I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna move over here. So again, you could use something for balance. Extend that leg. Are you pushing back into your glute? Do you feel a good stretch here? Check your knee in alignment with that toe. Squeeze it closed. Nice and controlled. Squeeze it closed. Extending that leg. Option to use weights. The weight is framing the knee. Check your foot. We want that foot activation, even placement in the ball of the foot, the heel, and each one of those toes. How are we doing? Moving the gliding disc or a paper plate or something really requires muscular control here. Let's do one more. There we go. I hope you enjoyed enjoyed our foot activation series to improve mobility. Be sure to tell me what you thought of today's exercise protocol. Comment, like, share this with your friends. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Kella Price, at Healthy Fitness Life Coach. I'll see you next time.